Alrighty, hello everybody. Finally sitting down to do some reviews today. Yeah, it's been too long coming for some of these, and I'm glad I went to see Black Adam twice, but that's not today's review. Although it is coming as well. I'm going to be recording it today, but I have so much backlog again, like I said. But by the time you guys see this, all that content will be out, and video should have been posted about it, talking about doing that backlog of content by then. So anyway, today's review is going to be the Lord of Rings of Power show, which obviously had some mixed reviews, I guess due to the fact that they maybe went off of script from the books. No, the only book I've ever read of the Lord of the Rings is The Hobbit. And that was a long time ago, so I'd probably have to read it again to even remember it. But this is supposed to take place before all of that, as far as I know. So this is supposed to be like the story of the elves and the dwarves, and I'm assuming probably how they became enemies, because this would even be before Bilbo Baggins and like the Rings of Power, like not the Rings of Power, but the one ring to rule them all. I'm assuming that would be long before this. Oh yeah, okay, so it says right here, set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. So yeah, so it doesn't even have anything to do with the Hobbit story, although I guess it kind of does lead up to that, and obviously leads up to Frodo and the adventures through Mordor and all of that good stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, this got some mixed reviews. Obviously, I don't really know. I didn't really look too much into the drama, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. The show was still good in my opinion. I enjoyed. Now, obviously, there were some episodes that seemed a little bit slower than others, but I mean, I assume that usually happens with every show. But my favorite episode was episode 3, where they discover finally where the orcs are hiding when the one elf gets taken captive. And they have to try to fight their way out of the pit or whatever, where the orcs have taken them captive and are making them work to dig their own tunnels and stuff. So that was a pretty cool episode. And so the first episode was Galadriel's. We start out with Galadriel's story, obviously, because she is the main character, the main elf in this entire story. And then we also have who was the other one that was super, super important? Oh, Elrond was the other very, very important character in this, when he goes to meet with the dwarves, and they discover the discovery of Mithrils in this as well. So that was pretty cool. I'm trying to remember the dwarf's name. Where is he here? Oh, I guess it was. That's got to be him. Prince Durin, I believe. Believe that was his name anyway, was Durin. Yeah, so it was. And this show did a really good job too of no, that's yeah, I'm thinking of something else. Sorry. But it was cool to see the friendship between an elf and a dwarf again. I think that was a really cool part, obviously, between Durin and where did he go? Obviously, between Durin and Elrond, it was really cool to see a friendship like that again. And then we had Arondir, I'm gonna say is his name, and Galadriel, yeah. And then Galadriel is, or has been hunting. So Morgoth was the original villain in the story that they fought, but they didn't show any of that. They just kind of went over the backstory to that, and that they ended up defeating her in Middle-earth, and then her, I guess, like kind of like predecessor or yeah, I guess predecessor Sauron would have been the one to kind of take over, and his army started to take over, and then all of a sudden he just kind of disappeared, and they've been searching for him for God, I don't know how long, quite a few years anyway, because elves do obviously have a very long lifespan, so they've been searching for quite some time, and she ends up finding signs that he was there, but who knows, like when they go to the cave in the frozen lands or whatever, she ends up finding signs that he was there, but who knows how long it's been, and then all the other elves kind of lay down their arms to say that they don't want to continue on going with her, so the current Elven King sends them off because he doesn't believe there's any more threat, but she feels like there is. So when they go through when they're going through I don't really want to call it a portal, but I believe he sends them. Is it west? I think, or back to the Westlands. I guess is where he was sending them. But she jumps off the ship, and then she meets Halbrand. And they seem to kind of have a pretty good connection right from the beginning. And I knew there was something up with him as to who he might have been. Well, I shouldn't say as to who he might have been, but I knew there was something special about him. Obviously, he wasn't quite who he was saying he was, because he was able to take on 4 guards pretty easily. So I'm like, he must be some sort of warrior or king. And it seems that way for most of the show, is that's who you think he is. And then there was another character that falls from the sky, and I don't even know if he's cast in this list. I don't see him here, unless I'm just totally going over him. I'm going to actually look at some photos. So yeah, High King Gilgad? Some of these names are really hard to pronounce. But anyhow, and then we also meet the captain of the ship that saves Galadriel, who was... Well, was that really him? Holy crap. Well, I'm just looking at some of these photos compared to like what they look like in the show, and it's just so crazy to think that there's such a big difference between them. So yeah, I'm actually going to look at some photos here if they have any. I don't know if they do. They might not. But I believe this is the captain here. I could be wrong. Oh no, that can't be him. Let me see here. If he has some photos from the Rings of Power show. I guess he does not. Interesting. Well, I can't remember the captain's name for the life of me for whatever reason. But he's got to be here somewhere, right? Maybe this was him. I'm starting to think maybe this was him. Let's just see here. Ah, yes, okay. I have the right guy. So Captain Elendil is the one that saves Galadriel from the ship, or on the ship, and he, I guess, believes that there was something special about her, and obviously she's trying to get the people of Numenor, which this season takes place a lot in Numenor, with Galadriel trying to convince the people of Numenor to come fight with her against, obviously, the evil that is starting to spawn back into Middle-earth, because they know that they have to save Middle-earth. Oh my god, I got the sniffles today. They know that they have to save Middle-earth and protect that from, obviously, being overthrown by evil. So they get the armies of Numenor to come with them on their ships, and it seems like everything is okay. And then when she goes back to the elves to let them know what has been going on, obviously the High King says that she shouldn't even be there, and then they're trying to get the Mithril to forge in order to create something that only the elves know about. that have a certain power because Mithril has a power. So they end up creating three rings of power at the end of the show. And yeah, I'm not really sure where it goes from there, but Halbrand, who she was with through the entire show, or sorry, Halbrand, who she was with through the entire show, finally reveals who he is, because she can't find anything on him. I guess in the scrolls that she was looking up while she was with the elves again, and so he finally reveals that he is Sauron. So that was a twist that I didn't see coming, because the person who you think is Sauron is actually the person who falls out of the sky with the Harfoots, who I believe probably end up becoming the Hobbits, because they were about the same size as the Hobbits. And they really did do a good job of making you think he might have been the evil one who fell from the sky. But my theory is that he is going to be Gandalf. Now, I could be wrong, because when the three people that are after him are trying to convince him that he is Sauron and to go to, where were they trying to get him to go? Not the Southlands, but yeah, they named the place they were trying to get him to go. But, so the Brandyfoots was the main family of, yeah, was the main family, and Nori, Brandyfoot, and Poppy Proudfellow were the two that found the guy that fell from the sky, and they take care of him, and then when the rest of the Harfoots find out about him, it's just a whole mess. Let me just say that much. And yeah, so then that whole storyline goes on, and obviously we find out that he's not, because they get all freaked out. The people that were following him get all freaked out and go, "Oh my God, he's the other one." So I'm assuming he's Gandalf just by the way he talks and the fact that he was able to kind of like vanquish them pretty easy. He's either Gandalf or he's Saruman. That's kind of my theory at this point. And then we have Arondir's story, obviously fighting off. Oh God, where is he? He can't just be called the Stranger, can he? That wouldn't be right, would it? Oh no, okay. So that was the guy who played him. Okay. So where is the guy that played... the main villain in this story? I'm trying to find him. Oh yeah, that's who played Adar. Oh, Adar. Okay, so Adar was like the leader of the orcs, and I guess he was like one of the very first orcs to ever be created, so he was kind of like half human, half orc. So he's their leader, and then the Southlands ends up, unfortunately, the orcs get their way in the end, and the volcano erupts and turns the Southlands into just an absolute wasteland. And then all of a sudden, when the armies leave, like the elves and the people from Numenor, because there's really nothing else left for them there, they're all trying to escape because, well, they find out that they were fighting their own people in the first battle, and then obviously the armies of Numenor come in and they think they've defeated everybody, but that wasn't the truth. And Adar still survives somehow, and then we find out that the Southlands is what becomes Mordor. So that was like one of the crazy turning points in this show as well. Being able to see the finding of Mithril, the creation of Mordor, and obviously possibly Gandalf or Saruman being the character that has fallen from the sky. So that's just my theories on the show. I really did enjoy this show, and getting to see some obviously new, yeah, I guess we could call them races, because Harfoots are technically a new race to me as far as the whole Middle-earth story goes. And then we have the elves, the dwarves. I guess the people from Numenor are just human, right? Like, they're not anything else other than that. And then, yeah, obviously, Sauron being who he was, and he was I'm not sure whether he was trying to trick Galadriel into thinking that he was trying to be good, or whether he was actually, or whether she had actually shown him how he could have been good, and she just had thrown that all to the side because she was, yeah, she had put so much hate in her heart that she ended up making him go to Mordor. So maybe it's kind of her fault that the rest of what happens, right? Which is kind of interesting to think about, because you wouldn't really think that that would be how that would go. You would think that she would maybe try to convince Sauron to stay, and they could be good together. But it is what it is, I guess, and we'll see what happens in season 2, because I can't wait for that. And yeah, oh yeah, my rating. Almost forgot. So I gave this show an 8 out of 10. It got a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb, so my rating was a little higher. But I really did enjoy this show. Like, now, does it stand against the old Lord of the Rings movies? Definitely not, but it still is good for what it is. For what it is, it's still good. I did really enjoy it, but it's not quite a 9 or a 10. It's yeah, it's an 8. It's close. It's close, but it's not quite there. But anyway, yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the review, or next review, and bye bye for now.